A lot of people ask me about how CPlay came to be and how this fantastic playground came to be. So I'd like to relay the story about how I was at the Margaret Mayhew playground up in Christchurch, which again is a significant playground. I just happened to be there with my kids and sat down, I'm watching the kids play, and I'm thinking this is such a marvellous facility. A lady from Timaru sat next to me and she just happened to be there with her grandkids. And she turned around to me and she says, "You know what? We could do with one of these playgrounds in Timaru." And I thought, that's such a great idea. Why can't we do it?
I first heard about building a playground was on Facebook. OJ put a comment on his page about how Timaru needs a new playground, and I thought, oh my goodness, we so do. A lot of our children go to Oamaru or Christchurch to play on a playground. They should be staying at home and playing. So I made a comment, what a great idea. So we just got together. There's about 3 or 4 of us, I think, at the first meeting. We all sat around and didn't know where to start or what to do, because none of us had built a playground before.
We thought, how the heck do we actually get this thing off the ground, you know? We've got this blank bit of paper. None of us have ever been involved in building a playground before. What do we do? But you've got to get the right people around you, so that took a bit of time.
So one of the first steps was to get out and talk, not to people we wanted money from, but people we wanted ideas, and to learn from them what they needed from a playground. So it was all the kind of education providers, tourism type people, even aged care we went and talked to, disability groups, sporting groups, all of those sorts of people. I think we had more than 30 kind of one-on-one meetings with different organisations and businesses in those early stages.
We had a lot of advice from the likes of Catherine Hamilton at Opus. She was heavily involved as the project manager with the Margaret Mayhew playground, and just started to build, if you like, a bit of a knowledge basket. So after a little bit of research and getting in touch with the people who put the Margaret Mayhew playground together, I soon found out that, in fact, you know what, it wasn't impossible to put a playground like this together in Timaru.
I guess my driver for wanting to be involved is, as a kid, I was disabled. My father back then made sure that I could play with the others, and that felt important to me, and an opportunity that it be a playground for everyone.
To be honest, I didn't realise how much of a challenge people had accessing playgrounds and playing here. And at times it was actually quite upsetting when you were learning there are so many layers of challenges that people can have in their lives, and of course that impacts the way their siblings play with them and their families.
A few years back, I came down to the playground, and we used to have a swing that was like a caged wheelchair swing. A wee boy arrived in one of the courtesy coaches. He came out in his wheelchair and they tried to push him across the grass. The wheelchair got stuck in the grass because it was boggy. And then they put him inside this cage with this wheelchair swing, right? And as soon as he went in there, all the other kids in the playground swooped around the fences and were staring at him. And you could see that the wee boy was really uncomfortable. But this was his only chance to play. And at the time I thought, there's got to be a better way.
So that was a number one priority for us, was to make sure through surfacing, equipment, people could come and play here on whatever they wanted for as long as they liked. There would be something that they could play on. Thinking about people who have issues with vision, pops of yellow to help make sure that they can see the contrast against the surfacing. Even the lighthouse behind me, choosing a white that was less glary for people who had sensitivity to light. The Playground Centre catalogue offered us a huge amount of opportunity, so those people felt like they could play together with everybody and not feel like they were on their special little piece, which was giving a really nice inclusive vibe to the playground.
We altered the layout of that lighthouse mound. We wanted people who had accessibility difficulties to be able to get up to the bottom of the lighthouse and get on the ship. That was one of the key elements that we were trying to do so that everyone could feel they could have some involvement.
For our disabled children to be able to play here with their sisters and brothers, where a lot of parks you don't have that.
It's all ages and disabilities, it's inclusive, and that's what we've aimed for.
The project involvement with CREO started fairly early. and Ben Whitty was our contact at the time. And actually I remember a meeting being up here in the area one day before it even started. He came up, we were talking about the project. We showed him, our sort of, if you like, pre-project drawings that we had. He was very helpful. He gave us quite a lot of advice, a few tips. I remember there's one that stood out to me. He said to me, in our experience, he said you'll spend a third on equipment, a third on surface finishes, and a third on everything else. And I remember at the time thinking, we know what our equipment contract is because we were about to sign that. Oh, it looks to me like we're a little bit short on our funding side. No, we need to be a bit more definite about our funding before we get too carried away here.
OJ came into my office and said, I've got this idea. We'd like to do something. We appreciate that council can't provide all the facilities, so we'd like to put the icing on the cake. Do something that council couldn't do by itself.
So CPlay have had a funding page for people just to donate as they will. We were still receiving funding through that funding page right till the end of September, into October.
We had some great donations come in, like we'd get children donate their pocket money, which was really rewarding, and it made everyone feel so great, to some huge donations that come from different sponsors, businesses in Timaru that put up their hand and say, hey, we'll help you out, and it just grew from there.
Thanks to your support, the support of all the businesses, the grants providers, etc. who have come on board, we currently, just over a week ago, got to $2.2 million.
Looking pretty competitive there.
I think the big thing about grants is that so many people are looking for money, and you're just so grateful when they choose your project, and when the sponsors and the donators realise how important it is for our community, and they believed in us, and we're so incredibly grateful for that.
It was so important to us to manage our funds well, because everything has come from the community, from children's pocket money right up to businesses and grants and clubs. So it's about $3 million that we've managed to raise as a community, which is, I think, really good value for what we've been able to create down here.
I think that because we did that engagement, we were able to get a really good snapshot of what the community really wanted down here.
We got some key elements of the playground designed, the lighthouse, the boat and the flying fox. What we did was take that and spatially lay it out, because there were some other elements that we wanted to bring into that. The specific ones are reflecting our geography, and we have braided rivers, so the flow of the paths and the swales are reflecting the weaving of the braided rivers. And it's also a nice metaphor for the weaving together of a community.
We were then ready to go to Creo to give us their magical polish to the project, so we could go from these ideas and good drawings to the working drawings that were going to help prescribe how to build the playground.
And so Creo were huge in bringing all that together for us. And I guess really allowing us to picture what the final product might be like. They were able to bring all that together.
And the peak for me was getting to integrate everyone's ideas. The richness of the design is not down to a particular person, but to the fact that we've had a community of people involved coming from different perspectives and views. But one key driver was to reflect the story of the bay.
In the early 1800s, Timaru was getting a pretty interesting reputation as a ship graveyard. We had 30 ships wreck here. Some of them were managed to be refloated, and of course that brought some serious risk to life. It risked the cargo and of course the ships and our reputation, because if we weren't a safe place to come, we were going to lose our spot in the trading paths around the world. The shipwreck behind us is sort of a link to those stories, and while we had all of this trouble, we had these amazing volunteers who would come to the rescue and save these people and save these ships. The Rocket Brigade crew, who were volunteers, they saved over 100 lives, and the Alexander lifeboat crew saved over 40. You can imagine when they hear that signal gun go, the whole town knows something's going on. They would be running to the cliffs, and then they would see the rescue crews out in the choppy, hazardous conditions trying to save these crews and ships.
It's been quite good being part of it because my family have a connection with the boating side of it. Captain Mills was my husband's relation.
A lot of hours spent reading papers past, learning about who we are, where we've come from, working with the team at the South Canterbury Museum, the Agentai Art Gallery, our library, so that we could build up a really good resource of stories with Arawhenua.
Within the hunting and gathering of Arawhenua, this was one of the areas that we hunted and gathered. What we've done within the park, we've utilised some of those things within the learning. So we have the big tuna, which is the eel that represents the hunting and gathering of eels here.
And so the eel is quite significant to one of the stories that we're telling. Some of these things you learn on this job. Our eels migrate.
And that eel, within the whole playground, actually travels from the Pacific to Aotearoa, New Zealand.
The scale of it is actually significant, and that's something you don't get off a drawing. You've got to be there, you've got to witness that.
I've learnt a lot from our kāinga about what their needs are for a playground. We have large families, and when we say families, it's our immediate family, but also our wider family. So it was really important to feed that back to Ros and the team. And when we talked about it, we spoke about having a space, a table that's big enough to sit 10 children or 10 kids and family around.
We all gonna bring the kids and sit down and eat and have the barbecue. So this is what I like, this playground, is include everyone to come and enjoy the space.
Rose said, we need something under our flying fox, and I said, oh well, how about a Taniwha? For the flying fox, it's about if you fall off it and that. A Taniwha is usually a protector, like for Arawhenua, our kaitiaki, our Taniwha. So it protects all the children in the playground. And the colours that they put in there, that made Taniwha bounce out, so you could see that it was there to look after you. Love the material too, because it's recycling, and I love recycling, because I'm a big advocate for recycle.
This is so cool. It's been brought down to a plant in Oamaru with Creo, who are going to slice and dice it up and turn it into the new pour and play product. They put all of the rubber in there, the granulator, and it gets chopped up into these fine bits, and we'll be able to use that to make a more sustainable choice for the playground surfacing. This is all going to be helped to make the shock padding in the playground.
There's over 72,350 kilograms of shock pad recycled rubber. So that's 2,199 wheelbarrows full of rubber we've pushed around this 3,500 square metre site.
Kai inoi tātou. E honore kurori kia maina ronga ki te whenua e whakaro pai ki ngā tangata katoa āmen. E tāne matua tāne nuiarangi tāne whakapiripiri whakaronga mai. Nau e o mātua nau ko te rā nau ko te pōnau whakari te whānau mārama nau te o te ao. Nau i tiki ngā mātua ranga nau ko te wāranga nau i tupui te haura nau ko te tangata nau a hau. Tia e mau i ora. Ia roa tia tara wai a tangaroa hea wai a au wai aio. Tamaroa whakapua mai tara tori tū kia koe tū mātou e. E whano, hala mai te tupi, haumi e, hui e, dai ki.
I will be honest with you, I'm absolutely terrified. I mean, we've worked really hard, we've listened. You're just not going to know how successful a playground is until the fences come down.
Well, I feel like we've sort of delivered on what we told people we would, and it looks really good to me. And I guess the overwhelming feeling is just kind of excitement to see people in here and hoping that they enjoy what we've produced and what the community have helped us produce.
Amazing asset for Timaru, this incredible playground. The CPlay committee have just done an outstanding job.
They were thinking about inclusiveness, and I think that level of thought really is making this a wonderful playground for everybody.
Because it's something I've never seen in a playground before.
An amazing, amazing thing for our town.
We've just had so much help along the way. And I feel like everybody's chipped in because they can see the sort of genuine community nature of the project.
The thing that I'm really, really proud of is the fact that this project, with a bunch of volunteers who knew nothing about playgrounds, blank bit of paper, right? They came together to make a dream come true. And they brought the community with them. And they can really make something come to life. And this is the result.
It's just absolutely amazing. It's goosebumps when you come around the corner.
To be involved with a play space that's going to be here for generations. Huge privilege working with the CPlay guys.
I don't want to undervalue the contribution that TDC staff have made. They have been very helpful.
Rosalind Firth, who's been so heavily involved in the design and bringing all the different factors together that make it unique.
My final thought is really about the richness of what we've got here, that it's not just a playground. that it's an expression of a community that wanted to achieve something, that wanted to tell their stories.
It's actually blown me away, even though I've been following the project right through, to get to this stage and actually see it. There's nuances, stories of sailing, history, but then there's fun.